There is a flight path that begins in Kuala Lumpur and ends nowhere. Not at a runway, not at a crash site, at nothing. 239 people boarded an aircraft on the night of March 7, 2014. The plane took off on schedule, climbed to cruising altitude, and then, without warning, without a distress call, without a single explanation, it was gone. This is not a theory. This is a recorded disappearance. It began as an unremarkable night. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, a Boeing 777-200ER pushed back from the gate at Kuala Lumpur International Airport just after midnight. On board, 227 passengers and 12 crew. At the controls, Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, a veteran pilot with over 18,000 hours of flight experience. The route was standard. The aircraft was airworthy. Every system checked out. No one flagged anything. No one had reason to. Everything was normal, and that is what makes what followed so difficult to explain. At 1:19 a.m., Air Traffic Control issued a routine handoff instruction. The first officer responded, "Good night, Malaysian 370. 2 minutes later, at 1:21 a.m., the transponder went silent. Not a gradual failure, not a distress signal, an abrupt, complete cessation of contact. The aircraft vanished from civilian radar, but military radar told a different story, one that would take investigators days to fully process. The plane had turned, sharply and deliberately westward, back across the Malay Peninsula. It continued flying for nearly 6 more hours. The aircraft did not crash at 1:21 a.m. It flew on, and no one knew where it was going. What followed was the largest aviation search operation in recorded history. Teams scoured the South China Sea first, the logical corridor, then the Strait of Malacca. Then, guided by Inmarsat's satellite data, no one had ever used for this purpose, investigators identified 2 possible arcs: a northern corridor stretching toward Central Asia, and a southern one extending deep into the Indian Ocean. The southern corridor was selected. The search shifted to one of the most remote stretches of water on Earth. They weren't searching in the wrong place out of incompetence. They were eliminating possibilities in sequence. But the ocean is enormous, and time was running out. The southern Indian Ocean is not a place that gives things back easily. Depths exceeding 4,000 meters. Currents that scatter debris across thousands of kilometers. Weather systems that ground aircraft and swamp vessels for weeks at a time. No shipping lanes, no infrastructure, almost no baseline data on the seafloor topology. On July 29, 2015, nearly 17 months after the disappearance, a maintenance worker on the island of Reunion found a barnacle-encrusted wing component on a beach dot. It was a flaperon. It was confirmed as belonging to MH370. In the months that followed, additional fragments surfaced along coastlines in Mozambique, Tanzania, South Africa, and Mauritius. Each piece was isolated, carried by the Indian Ocean's South Indian Ocean Gyre, over hundreds of days and thousands of kilometers. MH370 left traces. What it did not leave was answers. Investigators recovered something else, data from the captain's home flight simulator. Routes had been plotted. Southern Indian Ocean waypoints had been loaded and later deleted. The deletion itself was logged. The intent behind it was not. The aviation community divided. Some pointed to mechanical failure. Others pointed to the simulator data and said the evidence of deliberate action could not be dismissed. The evidence exists. What it means is still contested. Every credible theory accounts for some portion of the known facts. None accounts for all of them. Hypoxia, a sudden loss of cabin pressure, would explain the silence, but not the deliberate turn. Mechanical failure, A concealed electrical fire could have overwhelmed the crew, but the evidence is inconclusive. Deliberate diversion, the most uncomfortable possibility, most directly supported by the simulator data. Third-party interference, examined and found unsupported by any physical or signals evidence recovered to date. Each theory explains part of the story. None explains all of it. That absence is where MH370 lies. An official investigation concluded, in formal language, that an aircraft carrying 239 people deliberately left its course, and that no one knows why. Behind every data point in this investigation is a person. 239 of them. Families who received no remains, no confirmed location, no complete explanation. The families of passengers formed their own groups, demanded more, were told there was nothing more to give. In 2024, a new search resumed. Deep-sea company Ocean Infinity contracted to search a fresh zone of the Indian Ocean. As of this recording, it has found nothing. The families continue to wait. Some have held funerals with empty coffins. There is a specific kind of grief for those who have no place to go. No grave, no site, only the ocean. Enormous and indifferent, which has kept its secret for over a decade. 239 people boarded on flight MH370. Businessmen, students, a group of painters returning from an exhibition, a family of 4 and an infant. They did not know that this journey would become the most searched, most theorized, most written about disappearance in the history of commercial aviation. They knew only that they were going home. The aircraft has not been found. The ocean floor in the southern search zone remains largely unexplored. The answers, if they exist, are 4 kilometers underwater, in the dark.